Hello, Leo, Sun, Moon, Rising, and Venus signs. Welcome to your tarot reading and astrology talk here at the Intuitive Teacup. I'm happy to have you all out there. I am going to be incorporating a little bit more astrology knowledge just in these readings this time around. So I highly recommend you actually watch for your rising sign this time around because of that astrological knowledge. More of a chance that the material that comes through will resonate with you if you check out your rising sign. So you can find that easily with a Google search. You need to know your place, time, and location of birth, and it will generate your rising sign. Or the zodiac sign associated with your first house. Those are interchangeable terms. So your rising sign or whatever zodiac sign rules your first house in your birth chart. So this is going to be specifically for Leo risings, but of course anyone is welcome into the reading. So let me do my quick spiel. Guys, remember these are general readings. Even despite the astrology knowledge, this is by no means a Bible. This is a general guide. I hope it speaks to you. I hope it resonates with you. I hope it helps you. That's my goal. But do remember you're accountable and responsible for all your own actions and decisions. Let's set the intention to get you all out there some clear, helpful, and insightful messages. And do remember you're accountable and responsible for everything that you choose to do. I feel like I already said that. Mercury's come out of retrograde. Sorry, guys. All right. So I would usually start with astro knowledge. That's sort of where I've been going with this. There's like a lot going on right now. A lot of it's going to be really great, too, by the way. April was an absolutely brutal month for a lot of us. Now, Leo, you obviously have fire placements that may have made some really positive contact with Aries, but just given like eclipse season and there's been some turbulent stuff going on in the sky. Aries season has not been easy for a majority of us out there. That being said, happy Taurus season. There are some really nice things going on. Venus is moving into Taurus, which is the place it loves to be, as well as Mars moving into Aries. So same thing. Aries is ruled by Mars. So we're going to be getting more traction. Relationships are going to be better or healed or more enjoyable than they have been. Mercury is going direct after being retrograding through, let's see, for Leo rising. It's been retrograding in Aries, so your ninth house of foreign relationships, legalities, faith, spirituality, travel, education, legal documents, things of that sort. And also sort of like philosophical beliefs, the meaning of life type stuff, right? So there may have been a lot of reorganizing and reassessing on that front. Mercury moving direct, we're going to be able to kind of declutter a bit and start to really gain traction and move forward. So that's the majority of what I wanted to bring your attention to. Taurus season is going to put a lot of focus on your 10th house of career, status, reputation, who you are out in the world versus privately, right? We had a full moon in Scorpio recently, ruling your 4th house. So that has a lot to do. Full moons bring a lot of attention and shine light on, reflect back to us. Major events, culminating situations regarding things about your house, your family, your home, your property, your roots, your legacy, your ancestry, your private life. And with a square to Pluto in your 7th, it has a lot to do with sort of maybe power dynamics, but also the need to transform relationships in order to better harmonize with your personal and private life. Anyway. And I think that's particularly important because you do have a card of Cancerian energy coming through, which is very closely associated with like the house, the home, and the family. So there could have been obstacles and blockages regarding an issue with a family member, possibly a mother figure. It doesn't have to be. Or this may also have to do with more of the 9th house Aries stuff where Mercury was retrograding and plans kind of went to shit or, were kind of chaotic. This may be having to do a little bit of extra work to get back on track in order to bring those plans forward to travel or to sign a document or to move forward in any type of relationship. It doesn't just have to be romantic. Queen of Pentacles showing at the bottom says that this could positively impact your money. And that leads me to sort of the last astrological thing I want to touch on. I'm sorry if you're not into the astro stuff. I felt called to do it this week, so it's not going to be like this moving forward every week. But for those who are here for it, awesome. Thanks. If not, maybe I'll see you next time, Leo. But we had the Jupiter-Uranus conjunction, again, happening in the later degrees of Taurus, around like 20 degrees of Taurus. And again, that's happening in your 10th house of career, reputation, status in the world. And so with that, Jupiter forces us I don't know if forces is the right word, grants us the opportunity to grow and expand. That's what Jupiter wants. Typically, it's a planet associated with blessings and good luck. It's a planet associated with money and travel and religion and spirituality, right? Generally, it's a little bit softer. Wherever Jupiter is in our chart, we feel a little bit more protected. We feel a little bit more blessing, a little bit more plucky and optimistic. With Uranus coming into the mix there, those two planets were in alignment. Uranus is a very unusual planet. It's a maverick planet. It kind of does what it wants. It's very rebellious. It doesn't follow the rules, and it frequently shows up in shocking and surprising ways in our life. Now, I'm not saying anything is black and white here. I'm not saying this is all good or all bad. I think there's going to be long-term impacts that we haven't even necessarily felt yet from that. And don't get me wrong, every single zodiac sign is being impacted by it. But for you specifically, my Leo risings, you're experiencing that sort of unexpected push towards growth and spiritual growth in any sense of the capacity, but growth in your career. And you may sort of, there might be a breaking off or a severing off or a need to take the road less traveled or do something very different, or feeling like you're having flashes of insight. That can be all Uranus stuff that, ultimately does force you to grow, but there might be sort of a pull towards more creative endeavors, incorporating more hobbies and things you do for fun. So maybe it's pulling back from your career in order to embrace more joy and pleasure in your life. Jupiter rules your fifth house of play and dating and self-expression and crafts, sports, hobbies, that sort of thing. Sex, right? Sex for the purpose of pleasure, not necessarily procreation, but more of like a personal development type stuff with Sagittarius. It does also have to do with education as well, that Jupiter Sagittarius stuff. So maybe you're taking on some sort of project or some sort of undertaking that's going to expand your mind in a really positive way. And, not only will you sort of flourish as a person, but it could also positively impact your career moving forward. Maybe you're having to learn new knowledge to, essentially incorporate that or put that into long-term career plans that's going to help you thrive and grow in some way. With this message from the tarot, it's almost like you may have to spend a little to get a lot more back in the future, but you might not necessarily be seeing the return on that yet. All right. So what is this Seven of Wands? It's a Mars-ruled card, so it's saying our energy and our effort is required. And I feel like because we have the eclipses on that axis of Aries, Libra stuff, Aries being a Mars-ruled sign, it brought up a lot of questions of the self versus the other, who we are individually versus who we are in some sort of partnership or dynamic that requires collaboration. And with that, what battles are worth fighting for? And it's almost like, I think I've said this to you recently, Leo risings, although Leos in general too, making sure that the person that you're on the same team with is actually fighting for the same battle or fighting for the same goal, the same purpose, the same direction. I almost feel like there's sort of a recalibration in the direction you're headed, and that may be posing challenges in terms of who you're collaborating with or who you're coming together with. Maybe that resonates for you in terms of how you're wanting to grow your personal life or your household or your family, but maybe it's out in the real world. For some of you, I'm almost getting this desire to travel more, to be more worldly, or expansion of thought, of mind, again, more Sagittarius type stuff where it's wanting to embark on some sort of adventure, whether that's physical travel and distance, or it's sort of leaning more into the educational. I'm wanting to expand my mind and explore other realms and other opportunities and other directions. You might be dealing with an energy that is very resistant to that or very stubborn to come along with you for the ride. Why is this coming through for my Leo risings? So there could be an ending put to something. But it doesn't have to be. I think sometimes we see the death card and we get freaked out and I don't do fear-based readings. That's not what I am about, ethically, morally as a tarot reader. But just the truth of the matter is the death card ultimately symbolizes transformation, whether it involves a mini death or not. A death meaning, bringing an ending to something. For a lot of you, it's this idea of a releasing and a letting go. It's very, very strongly associated with Scorpio, and Scorpio is the ruler of your fourth house, again, for Leo rising, symbolically for a lot of Leos out there. And so with that full moon, something did reach some sort of point where, like, we can't ignore it anymore. A full moon is like, we have to acknowledge the elephant in the room, or, the emperor's got no clothes on. It's right. It's like, we have to say it because we've been with the moon, right? We've been feeling it. We've been intuiting it. Instinctually, we knew that something was building up to like a boiling point. And with the square on this full moon that was in Scorpio, let's see, when was it? I think it was like April 23rd, right? Something like that. But we're still feeling it. Don't get me wrong. It was being squared by Plutonian energy in Aquarius. So it's like, full moon on steroids. It's super Scorpio. It's super scorpionic. It's super transformational. But because it's making that square with Pluto, it's like there's an opportunity for change and transformation, but it's not going to be an easy one, right? It's going to challenge us. And I mean, I would argue that very rarely when the death card comes up, is it like an easy change, right? That's not how Scorpio rolls. Like, it's a very extreme sign, right? But sometimes it's like we have to, I'm almost wanting to use the word destroy, but I like that because it's putting you more in the position of power, in what control that you do have. It's like choosing to allow something to fall away or break away, or I don't know why that word destroy is wanting to come through, almost in an emotional way, something that may have disturbed you or destroyed you or really kind of brought you down to your knees, right? In crisis mode. I think now you're starting to either pick up the pieces or to see an exit strategy or to see a way out where you're not necessarily in the clear yet. You're going to have to muster up some more courage and strength, but leaning into that kind of Cancerian tenacity. I think you are going to, you're you're going to come out of this in a very strong way, but it is going to change you as a person. And that's not a bad thing. It was always meant to happen. And so I think we have to relinquish control and as well as expectation here. But it's sort of like that surrendering to the changes coming through, whether I like it or not. So I can cling to what I know and what is familiar. But if it's out of desperation and it's out of fear, it probably didn't have strong staying power to begin with. So this feels just very kind of like bowing down to a higher power. It's not about giving up your authority or giving up your voice or power in some capacity, but it's understanding that sometimes change is inevitable, and how you deal with this new information or this this kind of like new criteria or new opportunity, whatever it is, the more you're willing to sort of have, I'm wanting to say like, hold on loosely, like that song, hold on loosely, but don't let go, right? If you cling too tightly, you're going to lose control. Oh boy, I did it. I said it, didn't I? All right, that was cheesy, but ultimately it actually is kind of the message here. I think you have to go along for the ride here and see what develops and see what happens. And if it gets to a point where it doesn't feel like it's healthy or doing you any benefit, then you do have the option to release and let go. But for a lot of you, it's about finding your footing again. It's about finding better balance, finding better adjustment, because neither of these signs do balance particularly well, and that might be where the struggle is coming from, right? Cancer energy is a sign that squares Libra, right? Libra is, I would say, the zodiac sign most associated with balance and harmony, right? Because it is the scales. By default, Cancer squares that. So again, it's a challenge. It's not to say you can't develop that, but it's sort of like that muscle. You have to work it out and flex it a little bit in order to get it to be strong and do the thing that you want it to do. It just takes practice, right? Over time, it's going to develop and become stronger, but you do have to commit to it. You do have to be dedicated and loyal to allowing this transformation to come in and ultimately transform you and change you as a person. Scorpio, right, as we talked about earlier with the death card, is also right next to Libra, right? It's the sign that follows Libra. Scorpio is like the complete opposite, right? In every which way, right? So Libra is cardinal, air. It's a masculine air sign, right? It's an initiating energy. Scorpio is feminine, water, it's earth, and it's fixed, so it likes to stay, it likes to hold on to things. It works in very extreme ways because it's that Mars-Pluto ruled sign, whereas, we have the Mars energy, the initiator, kind of like the the warrior planet, if you will. But, you know, again, to find that harmony and balance, we have to be a little bit softer. We have to be a little bit more graceful. We need to do sort of like the Libra Venusian principles of, hey, this is a balance. It's this and that, and we can work together and establish equilibrium. So something about that is coming through specifically for my Leos. I don't know if I've lost you or if this is resonating with some of my Leo risings out there, but there's a struggle to find balance. And I'm almost wanting to say, like, you're working your way to achieving it, but it's not necessarily on the horizon or in your immediate viewpoint. I think for a lot of you, you're having to lean into your faith that something is going to come out of this, and it will. The Chariot card is a card of victory, but I'm almost wanting to say, like, don't give up. Like, well, I'm always going to say that regardless, right? Because what good is it to be like, give it up, let it go, whatever. No, if it means something to you, I think it's saying, you're not being asked to work harder because I think you've put in a lot of work. That being said, I think you're being told, or it's being suggested to me, that it's not over yet, though, so we can't just entirely abandon ship and throw our hands up and be like, well, we tried. No, it's not about that. These signs are... there's a strong, like, stick-to-itiveness. There's a strong tenacity to, I would say, to all these cards, you know, even this one, it's Mars and Leo. So that says to me, for some of you, there's like an internal warring going on. But that is there's going to be more ease in whatever battle or struggle that's kind of challenging you at this time. There's going to be a welcomed relief when Mars moves into the sign of Aries, which, let's see, I want to say that's like April 30th. Now, you might not feel it instantly, but I do think there's going to be more fuel and a revitalized energy to help get you back on track or feel revigorated, re-inspired, you know, more motivated than before, especially with Mercury moving direct. Both those planets are going to have a significant impact where all of a sudden it feels like you've ignited your fire again. You know, with these kind of heavier energies, especially with the Death card, you know, you're a fire sign, Leo, squared by the sign of Scorpio. So symbolically, it's almost like it felt like somebody threw a bucket of water on your campfire and you were just like, all you had left was the embers and they were barely going. Something, and maybe this has to do with a person in your life. Maybe it's a Cancerian, maybe it's a Scorpio, maybe kind of says just the right thing to help you get back on track and be like, okay, you know what? I do got this. It's almost like, I actually love this message for you because I think Leo is so often the cheerleader for other people, right? You know, just innately as a fire sign that you do that well, right? You literally are the light and other people see the light and feel motivated and inspired. Here, it's almost like it's the reverse story. It's like you lost your groove. You lost your confidence. Something knocked your confidence, or you know, like any human being, you just kind of got lost, right? And I feel like there's something here about feeling a little bit more assured or more ready to go after the thing. And I almost want to say to go after it again. There is something here about a returning of an energy or a breathing new life into it, right? I love that with the Scorpio death energy. It's like something had to die in order to be reborn again. And that idea of like breathing new life into it, it's like your fire didn't go out, right? Because you're still here. You're still showing up for yourself. It may have been dimmed. It may have been challenged. It may have been in an environment that wasn't encouraging the best or healthiest, you know, growth, so to say, if you're with me on this metaphor. But this idea of breathing new life into the embers, giving it some space, giving it some air, giving it some oxygen, you know, metaphorically, you know, the swords, giving it a pep talk. It's like, you remember why you started this in the first place. And again, I'm not saying it's an easy path out. I'm not saying that magically all your issues are solved. I think with this like Uranus, Jupiter conjunction in Taurus, it's like there's huge opportunities for blessings with that Jupiter. But in Taurus, it's like we still have to commit to it. Taurus isn't a fast acting sign. Any of the earth signs, I think you could argue, it's a little bit more slow, right? You know, when earth energy comes through with that metaphor of like you can't will an acorn to become an oak tree. It has to happen organically, but the seed of it is there. The potential is there, so we have to nurture it. Again, we have to devote ourselves or commit ourselves to it. But I would say also in a way where you're not burning the candle at both ends. Again, that very absolutely crucial, essential need to find better balance in how you go about this. I think that's going to make you more confident and self-assured, knowing that it's not like you're tapping at an empty well or at an empty resources because you've already given all you got. I think maybe for some of you, it's like you're being asked, this message has come up a lot, being asked to pull back your energy a little bit in honor of like self-care. That's very Taurus energy too. With Venus moving into Taurus, it's like sometimes we have to, it's not sometimes, always, but especially with Venus and Taurus, it's like we have to enjoy ourselves. We have to enjoy our body. You know, pleasure is a very important word in any sense of the word, right? You know, there is something kind of sensual when we put Venus in Taurus, but again, Venus represents, you know, joy and luxury and fun and relationships and playfulness and, you know, flirty energy, sure, but yeah, it's like realigning to the importance of valuing ourselves and our self-respect and maybe setting healthier boundaries in relationships. So what are we blocking off or possibly taking time to contemplate something a little bit more? Your work life. Yeah, your work and your money. Do you identify with the work you're doing or with the job that you're in? And maybe that's a weird way to phrase it, but with, you know, Virgo energy coming through here, it's the sun in Virgo, right? And Virgo, again, for Leo risings, rules your second house of value and income, how you make your money, but what you value on like a very basic level, who and what you value and what kind of energy you put into your relationships, who and what you want to build with and grow with, for that matter. But this card always says, do you identify with the work you're putting out into the world? Because essentially it's like when you energetically attach to something, whatever you create or produce from it, it has a signature of you. So if you're in a business where you're no longer aligned with management or you're no longer aligned with the product they're selling or how they're, I'm using the word tactics, how they're running the operation, maybe, I don't know, maybe some of you are either pulling back your energy and contemplating, is this the right path for me? For some of you, like this death card, might be you kind of giving notice or you kind of putting cards on the table to be like, hey, this isn't working. So either we need to communicate and transform and fix this, or I'm out, right? Some of you, it's like you're bringing this ending. You're bringing the sort of the sign to someone that like, hey, this cycle is closing out. So I'll be honest, it maybe feels a little bit ultimatum-y. Like, I need you to do this for me because I've been busting my, let me use a different word, busting my neck, busting my back for you. You guys know what I was going to say. I've been doing all this labor for you and like, I'm not really seeing the reward anymore. So like, what are we going to do about it? Shall we choose to move forward with one another? Or is this where we part ways? Is this where we go off in different directions? And I suppose for some of you, maybe this does have to do with a family dynamic or a relationship, but it doesn't have to. I think in Taurus season, again, I have a hunch for a lot of you, this probably has to do with something going on at work. I think some of you are tremendously proud of the work you're doing, and it feels very heavy-hearted to have to bring an ending to something in totality or in finality. And so I'm going to offer, maybe you are jumping to a conclusion, a scorpionic idea of all or nothing. Like if they're not going to do this, that's it, I'm done. Maybe there is a need to find, again, that middle ground, that Libra-Venus balance and be like, can we meet in the middle somewhere? I think some of you are contemplating money and finances and like sort of long-term potential. I think there's, again, renegotiation of contracts or revisiting important conversations regarding your money. Maybe it's with your spouse, maybe it's with your financial advisor. I feel like some of you already got advice or some sort of tip to pull back your spending or to better allocate where you're putting your money. And again, you have to give that time. It's like, it's not going to be an overnight success story, Cinderella story by making that one tiny change and thinking it's going to transform your life. Again, allow it to take root. Allow this new habit or this new process to sort of develop so that you can actually see it. And don't let fear be driving the bus, right? That word came up earlier of, again, as a fixed sign, that idea of I'm holding on to this, I'm harnessing it, I'm sustaining it. But at what point is holding on doing more damage than good? I think you need to be really honest and maybe check yourself a little bit where fear is playing too much of a role in this. With the Chariot energy, it's almost like moving forward despite the fear. And I'm wanting to say putting putting more stock in like faith and that there is a divine order to this and there is a divine plan. And I know when you're going through it, it's hard to hear that, right? But we have to remember that Jupiter-Uranus conjunction, right? Jupiter is all about faith and possibly sort of I'm wanting to say like reinvigoration of faith, almost through like divine intervention, unexpected twists and turns in your path where just when you were ready to get up, it's almost like the divine sent some sort of angel in your path or however you want to say it, earth angel, divine intervention of you met that one person on the street that one day when you were ready to give up and they said that one thing that you were like, oh shit, like that really spoke to me. I'm just saying, be open to that. Oh, excuse me. All right, let's get you an angel number here. There could be an important conversation with a Pisces. There could be a lot of focus on psychology and working through some sort of internal fear where it's almost become an instinctual habit, but it actually holds you back. It's almost, I wanted to use the word like self-sabotage. It's like you're not operating on a conscious level, but some long-held belief, again, operating out of fear or lack mentality. Some of you, there's a light being shed on that, particularly in Cancer season, but that's a while away. But yeah, you may start to see things with more clarity and realize where you've been holding yourself back in this scenario. All right, did anything turn over? You got like the whole deck. Okay, no, we can't do that many. But I'll take this one. You know what? I threw it aside. Why not? It says 5, I am adaptable. Yeah, so that flexibility, right, versus the fixed energy of not wanting to let go for principle or out of ego. Something about adaptability, flexibility, needing to edit and go about something in a different way. You may still have the same end goal, but I think that's important. So look out for number 5. That's your angel number this week. Flexibility is your forte. When life throws you a curveball, you can easily adapt to new circumstances and find excitement in the unexpected change. Be brave and bold in your endeavors. All right. And last but not least, anything else my Leos need to hear? For self-care, for Leo, what do they need to know? Allow. You're being asked to open your energy field and take down your walls of protection in order to allow goodness into your life. Sometimes without even realizing it, we block ourselves from the flow of life. It is safe to open yourself back up. I love that for you guys. All right, Leah, thanks for joining me today. Please remember to like, share, subscribe, leave a comment if you so desire. Thanks for your patience in me getting back to YouTube. It's been a weird ride for me recently, but thank you for your love and support. I will see you guys soon for more tarot.